Hey crew, how do I make my money? I get asked this a fair bit, maybe a few times a year, so rather than typing out the exact same response over and over and over again, I thought, you know what, I'll just address it in a video. So, by the way, first things first, I'm really sorry about the honking. Every year, two different tribes of geese decide to have an all-out goose turf war right in front of my boat, and they've picked right now. So, sorry for this kind of all-out goose war over there. Anyway, how do I make my money? So, we're living in the era of the self-made man, which is bloody fantastic for a lot of creatives. You no longer need to go to art school to be taken seriously as an artist. You don't need to be taken on by a major modelling agency if you want any chance of being a professional model. I'm 5'7", I'm 33 this year, I'm about 11 stone. And yet, my first job, I am a professional model. So what that means is not necessarily the kind of work that you see on my Instagram. So that is very much a lot of selfies, about a mix of professional photography and selfies. A lot of these shots were taken at festivals. It's not what I mostly do for my living as a model. I'm an artist model. I pose nude for sculptures, life drawing classes. Photographers do these really cool things called salons where they get like accreditation and letters after their name after sending off a portfolio. So I get booked a lot for that. I'm naturally very, very curvy and I've got all this long pre-Raphaelite classical style hair. So from the age of about 19 up until now, I've been very sought after as a model. So when I say I'm a professional model, that is what I do for my job. That's was until quarantine, probably about my main source of income. Now, it was my only source of income until about 2016. And then I started doing a lot more other bits and pieces. I'll go into that third because actually the second source of income I have now is post-apocalyptic rated. I have got a Patreon. Now for that, what I do is I do several photo sets every month, and then you have several tiers that you can sign up for. So the first one is $5 and you get my highlights reel. The second one is $10 and you get full photo shoots and the full blogs that come with them. And the $20 are nude photos as well. And that doesn't mean pornographic. I don't do glamour, I don't do kind of titillation type stuff. When I say nude photos, what I mean is the classical artistic nude photography, but in abandoned buildings with Mad Max style makeup, shapes, form, power, emotion, all of that stuff. But if you have a look at patreon.com/Faith Roswell, you'll get a good idea of what you're going to see. So that is my secondary form of income. That's like my second job right now. And just like any creatives, I'm so grateful to everyone that sponsors me. Same with, you sponsor a musician because you buy their music, you support a model and a writer by sponsoring their work. So there I am. Third job, I do a lot of other different things. I am a writer, so you can book me for doing things like guest blogs, articles. I write a lot about art, I write a lot about empowerment, a bit about psychology, especially relating to women and self-confidence right now, which brings me to another job that I do. I can be booked as a public speaker. Now, I've had a hell of a life, as anyone that's followed for any length of time knows. I do all sorts of sleeping in airports, exploring abandoned buildings, staying in hostels, performing. I didn't start out with any level of self-confidence whatsoever. I came from bullying and some seriously nasty stuff. So I feel I'm in a good position to be able to help other people find their inner source of kick-assery. So I can be booked for exploration talks, urbex talks, self-confidence, empowerment, all of that kind of thing. And another talking job, I also do voiceover. I think that's about all of the different things I do. The main two right now have been modelling and Patreon. Those are my main two jobs, and then the others form a little bit of extra, a bit of a subset of extra work that I do. Now at the moment I can't model at all in terms of being booked by photographers. Obviously I'm in lockdown, so that means my Patreon is getting a lot more content because I'm doing a quarantine diary, I'm self-shooting a lot more, you're getting behind the scenes, and I'm filming a behind the scenes video right now of me filming videos all day long today, so that's going to go on my Patreon. But as I said, it's the era of the self-made man. I think there are very few people these days who have just one particular kind of job. I'm very glad that I can do several. It means I can have a very strange, interesting and wonderful kind of life. But that is one of the things, that when you're considered an influencer, which, by the way, I hate that title. I mean, anyone really that influences people is an influencer, but it's a very empty title. I don't just sit there and say, hey, I don't know. But it's a question a lot of people want to know about so-called influencers, is how do they actually make a living? Well, again, anyone that's followed me, anyone at all, knows I don't really have any choice other than to be as real as physically possible. I'm not going to sit here and talk bullshit. If I sat here and tried to advertise some empty product at you, you'd never believe a word I say ever again. So I'm always going to be transparent. This is how I earn my living. And hope that's answered some of your questions. Any more, stick them in the comments and I will try really, really, really hard to actually reply on a regular basis to you. Stay as adventurous as you can, rock on as hard as you can, and I will see you on the other side of the lockdown. Take care.